Sup, Net? It's Kirk. I have some thoughts and feelings on the Logan movie. And just to let you guys know right now, there's been a little bit of this involved. Been a little tipsy. Saw it this weekend and was absolutely floored by what I saw. So we're just going to talk about a couple of things really quickly. This is actually be a very short video because I have plenty more of this wine to drink tonight. And I also think that this movie was almost perfect, except that it commits the cardinal comic book movie sin. But we'll get to that in just a second. Firstly, just let me say that it's a near perfect movie. It's 17 years in the making. We finally got the Wolverine film that a lot of us have been waiting for since, but like I said, 17 years, so 2000. And that's kind of unreal. The other things that I want to talk about in this film really quickly, the young lady who plays Laura in this film, like I said, I'm going to get into some spoilers, is riveting. She's this movie's secret weapon, playing X-23. Some of the choices that they make about how she just goes completely feral and primal with that scream when she attacks and is just slicing and dicing motherfuckers to death was absolutely awesome. And at some point, she's holding her own with, award-winning actors in the same scene. So that just blew my mind. That was just amazing casting right there. Speaking of casting, Stephen Merchant, who's traditionally a comedian, who's in the Ricky Gervais group of camp of actors, was just inspired casting as Caliban. He was perfect and also just so simply, innocently tragic. Was just in love with that. Also, I think this should also be Patrick Stewart's last film as Professor X, mostly because he just gave a performance that reminds you that he's motherfucking Patrick Stewart. And it's riveting, again, to watch him and how he goes back and forth between sensitive old man to someone who's losing his mind, to someone who's coming to grips with a lot of the regrets and the things that he's still trying to teach and bestow upon Wolverine in this film. That said, before we get to the cardinal sin that this movie does commit, I want to talk about continuity and the Bryan Singer verse and how incredibly ingenious this film solves all those problems, because it leaves it to you, the viewer, as the movie's going. And I'm going to explain that to you right now. So basically, this is what happens. In the movie, there's comic books, and they're based on the X-Men. And they look a lot like the regular comic books that you and I read today that these movies are based on. It isn't just like a poke and a jab and like, oh, hey, by the way, comics. These comics that Logan keeps referencing in the film are a vital plot point to the story, and they are absolutely vital, and it's quite ingenious, the purpose they serve as far as continuity is concerned in the X-Men films starting 17 years ago. And it's this. Continuity is so important to the casual viewer, even as far as just comic books or in films, and when you do sequels, it's important. And I definitely think that as fans and viewers of films and someone who just like, all the diehards at least have continuity. All the Lethal Weapons have continuity. The X-Men films have the shittiest continuity in the world, and it's basically trying to figure out long-form algebraic equations to figure out the timeline at this point. And I know there are some charts online. You should look those up. When Logan references the comic books and says maybe a quarter of it is real and the rest of it is all bullshit and just made up, at this point, the film looks directly at the viewer, the person watching it, the fan, and goes, we've given you permission now. You get to pick and choose whatever of all the films that came before is your continuity. It gets thrown out of the window. It is so special that this film is able to break itself free from continuity and from all the Bryan Singer stuff and all the different time jumping new movie of the decade formula that the movie has, the franchise has decided to pick up. And I think it's so revolution. Is it revolutionary? Maybe. Is it a revelation? Absolutely. But the comic books represent different adventures that the X-Men have had. And say you love the first two films and you think that is the past that leads into this future Logan story, you get to include those in your version and interpretation of the X-Men films. Say you think the third movie was a giant dumpster fire and it was painfully obvious that Brett Ratner was filming a movie with absolutely no script whatsoever and only proves the fact that he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing when it comes to making films, like me. You can throw the third film out. It's not part of your continuity anymore. You don't have to fucking worry about it. If you want to just kind of look at all the new Singer stuff, starting with First Class, which was not Singer but a different director who I definitely think should have kept making the X-Men films, and kind of make that its own new continuity or a different timeline or a different set of comic books, if you will, you are allowed to do that. And that's what makes Logan so cool and so special. Aside from the fact that it is almost a perfect film, I think it's one of the most amazing things that I have seen in comic book movies to ever happen. I love the fact that this film comes up with such a genius way to free itself of previous film continuity and to also give the viewer and fan the freedom to basically decide what is their X-Men out of this Fox Marvel X-Men universe that they've been trying to do with us. I was floored. As far as the cardinal sin that this film commits, it goes so far as to free itself from comic book movie tropes to the fact that it doesn't feel like a comic book film. And that's something that everyone's been kind of striving for. I mean, especially if you look at The Dark Knight, that's Ledger and company and that entire film crew was trying to make a very serious film that did not feel like a comic book. Logan succeeds to do that up until the third arc, and the third act, I should say. And it is an insult that the X-24 reveal turns out to be just another evil clone of Wolverine. And so, in which case, you bring in the evil twin story trope that's been done over and over again, whether it's like Negaduck to Darkwing Duck, to the anti-universe in Star Trek, where suddenly everyone's got goatees and Captain Kirk is even more of a bang machine, which is awkward for everyone watching. It broke my heart. That's the decision that they decided to go with in this film. And quite frankly, that last poignant scene with Charles Xavier just kind of coming to grips with the fact that he doesn't necessarily deserve the happiness that he got in that one night with Logan and Laura and the family having dinner, which I also think alludes to the fact that maybe Professor X was the one that accidentally killed all the students, as opposed to in the comic book when it was revealed that Logan was the one that killed all the students accidentally because he felt trapped in Mysterio's powers. It should have been Sabretooth, guys. Spend the money, bring Liv Schreiber in just for a little bit. It should have been Sabretooth to deliver that killing blow and should have been the last final, seeing Sabretooth and Logan's relationship to its final end, so to speak. And it really should have been him. So, yeah, that's as far as Logan the movie is concerned, it's amazing. At one point, the movie is viscerally violent, and it's the type of Wolverine we've been waiting for a very long time. We get to see Berserker Rage. We get to see basically all these veteran actors who have had these characters forever really play it in fun, new, different ways and kind of show a lot more depth to the characters. I am totally okay with this being Jackman's last outing as Wolverine. And to be really honest, they should just kind of let the X-Men films rest for a little bit, because this was the perfect exclamation point at the end of all this current continuity. But like I said, this movie gets to free you of the continuity. So we'll get more X-Men films, and just wanted to let you guys know, like, go see Logan. It is absolutely amazing. Other than that, we will see you on Mondays, 8 p.m. over on the new Twitch channel for Your Mom's Basement, basically an interactive comic book club. We talk about all the week's newest comic books, and then we also have one book picked. And think of it as like an interactive comic book club, or a book club, or whatever, what have you. I'll put those links down below, guys. Comments down below. Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? What were your thoughts and feelings about Logan? That's very important. And please, by all means, like the video. Find us here for more comic book videos, and we'll see you over on the Twitch channel for the live shows. Alrighty, guys. Have a good night. Do another shot for me. Go see Logan. It was fucking amazing, guys.